everyone. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. So these are the different names of Lord Ram, which different devotees would be chanting. So normally when it comes to such festivals, we discuss about the Lord and glorify the Lord. When we glorify the Lord, Lord is very happy. He's almost like us, no? When we are glorified, we are very happy. Like aur kaho. Lord is not happy for that we are glorifying. But the outcome of the glorification is very nice, which Lord is very pleased with. And what is the outcome of the glorification? The outcome of the glorification is we become purified and we get closer to Him. As I always say, Lord is more eager to take us back home, back to Godhead, than we are eager to go back home, back to Godhead. And therefore, when He sees that we are taking one step closer to Him by hearing His glorification, He is very, very happy. Finally, this living entity is hearing about me. अब तक खुद के बारे में सोच रहा था, खुद के बारे में सुनने का प्रयास कर रहा था, and then finally now he has come to a platform where he wants to hear about me. But you know what? More than we glorifying the Lord is very pleased when we glorify His devotees. Because we meditate on the Lord, but then in Dwarka, every single day in His Leela, Prakat Leela of this planet, so he would be there in 16,108 Krishnas, in 16,108 palaces. And he will get up in Brahma Murta to set an example for everyone. And he'll get up and do what? He'll get up and he'll take bath and he'll sit and chant. Chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds. He'll sit and meditate. Meditate on whom? He'll meditate on his devotees. So, Lord meditates on His devotees, Lord glorifies His devotees, and Lord gives the first preference to devotees. And whenever we glorify the devotees, Lord is reminded of His devotee and He is extremely pleased. He is extremely pleased. Therefore, in ISKCON we see that early in the morning, the first arti that happens is called as Guru Ashtaka. And the last line it says, Vande Guruho Shri Charanaravindam. Now we are glorifying Guru. We are not glorifying Krishna. And many times people ask also, ये आपके ISKCON में गुरु को क्यों glorify किया जाता है early in the morning? You're doing Aarti of Krishna and you're singing glorification of Guru. Because as soon as we open the altar and we glorify the devotee, Lord is very, very, very pleased. Therefore today also, for the pleasure of the Lord, we'll try to hear about one of the devotee of the Lord. Again, one of my favorite character from Ramayana, and his name is Jatayu. Everyone has heard about Jatayu? Yes. Let me fast forward the entire pastime and come to the shore of the ocean. When all the Vanar Senas, they were sitting there, led by Angad. And they were very morose. And the reason for their sadness was, they were not able to find Sita. And Sugriva had told them very clearly, you find Sita and come back, or you better die there. Because if you come back without finding Sita, I'll kill you here. Now all of them, they are sitting there, very morose. And Angad and all of them, they were talking to each other, and Angad was telling, it's better that we all sit here, fast and die. Anyways, going back, all the same thing is going to happen. So better we do that here. So at that time, there was a vulture that was sitting on the top of the mountain. You know what was the name of that vulture? Sampati was sitting. Sampati is the elder brother of Jatayu. So Sampati was very happy. And he started chanting, Mahaprasade Govinda. Because he was fasting from many, many, many days. In fact, it said many months and many years he was fasting. And when he heard that, he was very happy and he said, finally I am going to get my meal. I need no longer fast for a long time. And he said this loudly. At that time, Angad, he heard that and he said, this is all because of that Dusht Kaikeyi. Because of her, Dashrath Maharaj left his body. Because of her, the great Jatayu left his body. Because of her, my father Vali left his body. And now because of her, even we have to leave our body. And Sampati, when he heard the name of Jatayu, he said, come again? You spoke about Jatayu? He's my brother. You're calling Jatayu as Mahatma. Please tell me something about Jatayu. What happened with him? And my wings are cut. So I cannot fly down. You people please come up here and take me down. Now, all the monkeys, they were thinking twice. Just now he chanted Mahaprasade Govinde. And now he's telling, get me down. What will happen? Then Angad said, it's okay. If we have to die, anyways we will die. But let's believe in him and let's get him down. So Sampati was got down and Sampati started speaking about Jatayu. That's a very nice thing to note, that Sampati is also vulture, Jatayu is also vulture. Just tracing back their family. Let's trace their family. So Brahma, he gave birth to many sons. And one of them was Marichi. By the way, Marichi is different than Marich. Marich was the demon who came as golden deer to trick Sita. But Marichi is son of Brahma, who is also one of the Prajapatis, you can say. So Marichi's son was Kashyapa. And Kashyapa married 8 daughters of Daksha Prajapati. So Daksha had many daughters and 8 of them he married. And one of the daughters' name was Vinita. And you know whose mother Vinita was? प्रभु जी इतना नाम बोल रहे आप ही बता दीजिए, पता नहीं चल रहा है. So Vinita was the mother of the famous Garud Dev. So Garuda's mother is Vinita. But Vinita also gave birth to another personality called Aruna. And Aruna begot this particular personality, Jatayu, from the womb of another personality called Sheni. सारे नाम पूछूंगा मैं एंड लिख लेना, पहले कह रहा हूं. So in this way, Aruna and Sheni, they begot Jatayu and Sampati. So Sampati and Jatayu are brothers. Now it is described that in the young age, Jatayu and Sampati, obviously so much of energy in the body. You see young people always will be running around and doing various things. And old people will keep looking at them and say, time aayega tera bhi mere aisa. It will come. So Sampati and Jatayu were so proud of their prowess that one day they decided, we'll attack Indra. We'll go to heavenly planet, attack Indra. And they did that. And the best part is, they defeated Indra. But then, it so happened that their pride went one more level ahead. And they thought, okay, Swarga Loka is okay, now let's go to Surya Loka. We'll defeat Surya Dev also. And it is described, Jatayu was leading, Sampati was following. So Jatayu went very close, to the sun planet, and it is described that the heat that was coming from the sun planet was so great, enormous heat, that his wings were about to get burnt. So at that time, Sampati, like a great Kshatriya, an elder brother, he took his wings and he covered Jatayu. So in this act, what happened is, Jatayu was saved, his wings were saved, but Sampati's wings were burnt. And when his wings were burnt, he fell down. He fell down to this place that is called as Vindhya. Vindhya only, no? Yeah, Vindhya mountain. And he fell down there, and a lot of history of Sampati also, wherein he stayed there and his sons helped him and various other rishis helped him. And one of the rishi, whose name was Nishakara Raja or Nishakara Rishi, he told Sampati that your wings will come out again. The day when Lord Ramachandra appears and his Sena, when they come to this place, and when you give them the information of Sita, where she is, your wings will come out of your body. And on that day, Sampati, he started speaking. And what was he speaking? He was saying that right across the ocean, 100 yojanas apart from this place, there is one place called Ashok Vatika in Lanka. And there I can see, he was able to see, he's a vulture, no, he was able to see that Sita is sitting there. You all can go across the ocean and you can find Sita. See, now it is described that as soon as Sampati spoke this, his wings came out and he was extremely happy and he flew away from that place. Now the rest is history, where how the monkeys, they decided that Hanuman should jump across the ocean and all that. Well, the rest of the thing is okay. Now let's come back to this pastime where Ram and Sita, they started from Ayodhya. From Ayodhya, the next destination was Chitrakoot. From Chitrakoot, the next destination was Dandakaranya forest. And from there, the next destination was Ekibachavi, Panchavati. Yes, that was Panchavati. So now, in between these two places, when they were going to Panchavati, they had met a personality called Agastya Muni. And Agastya Muni was very happy with Lord Ram. He knew very well who this personality is, the supreme person. He paid his respects. Ram paid his respects because he was following the etiquette. After all, he is Maryada Purushottam. And when all this was going on, at that time, Agastya Muni, he gave various weapons to Lord Ram. And those weapons were used in the battle. And at that time, Agastya Muni, he told them, all three of them, that is Sita, Ram and Lakshman, that you should go to Panchavati. That's a very nice place. So you be there for the rest of your Vanavas that is there. So at that time, when they were going towards Panchavati, so on the way, they met a great vulture or the king of vultures. And that is this personality, Jatayu. And now initially, when these three personalities, they saw Jatayu, they felt that he is a demon in the forest. So at that time, Lord Ram, see, one thing is very clear. When it comes to Kshatriyas, no, they will always talk first and then fight. Not like you bomb anywhere when people are sleeping, which currently is happening around in this world. Kshatriyas, the proper Kshatriyas following etiquette. And here, Ram asked him first, who are you? And at that time, Jatayu, he started describing about himself. And he said that I am Jatayu, the king of vultures. And I am your old friend of your father, Dasharath Maharaj. Now just imagine how much happiness Ram would be feeling. Oh, my father's friend is here. And then he spoke about his own dynasty. He spoke about how Kashyapa and Vinita and Jatayu. I know you all remember the name. I know, it's okay. So Jatayu, he spoke about all that. And then he described that, oh Lord, I want to serve you. Please keep me in your shelter. I want to serve you. I want to serve Sita Devi. I want to serve both of you. Please give me shelter at your lotus feet. And it's described for a long time, Jatayu was there around the area of Panchavati guarding Sita. And obviously it's understood that he had gone for some service and then he came back later. So in this way, the first meeting of Lord Ram and Jatayu happened on the way to Panchavati. And then it is described very nicely that in Panchavati, Sita, Ram and Lakshman were having a very nice time. Lakshman had built a very nice hut for them. He was very nipuna. He was very perfect, expert in building huts. Because wherever they are going, he has to build the hut. They went to Chitrakoot, he built one. Dandakaranya, he built one. And now Panchavati has built on one more. And it's described that everything was going well. Fast forward the entire pastime. There was that dark day in the life of Sita where she saw the effulgent golden deer and she was attracted to the golden deer. And then Ram went to get that, and here comes Ravan, and Ravan kidnaps Sita. Now it is described that when Ravan came, he came in a disguise as sannyasi, and he kidnapped Sita. And then he manifested his original form. Dashanana, 10 heads. Now 10 heads and 20 hands. Even devotees can have few more hands, no? So many things can be done simultaneously. 16 rounds in one shot. But this Dashanana, very, very cruel. And such a lusty person he was, that he thought of enjoying Sita. Can you imagine that? He thought of enjoying Sita. Now one thing is there, that we living entities, when we think of enjoying Lord's energies in whatever way in this material world, in the form of sense gratification, we are not different than Ravan. We have that Ravan tendency within us, Ravan mentality within us. Without that, there is no question of sense gratification. And Ravan is the epitome of sense gratification. Epitome. Therefore, it is described that this personality, Ravan, when he came with that mood of sense gratification, he kidnapped Sita. And when it comes to sense gratification, there will be no mercy factor that will be there. No mercy factor. And without second thought, he just kidnapped Sita, took her on the chariot. And when he took her on the chariot, it is described, Sita was very happy. She was thinking, finally I'll get a chariot ride. She was very happy and she was saying, very nice Ravan, very happy you've come and you've took me. Correct, no? You're so busy looking around, so I thought So it is described that Sita at that time, she was just shouting and shouting and shouting. We cannot understand what was the situation of Sita. My God. Really pathetic situation it was. Pathetic. Situation was such that there's no other personality around. There's no human being around. It's only trees, birds, animals and so on. And Sita is calling out loudly. She's calling out loudly to whom? She's calling out loudly to all the birds around, to all the trees around, all the animals around. And she's saying that if you find my Lord Ram, please tell him that I have been taken in this direction. This is what she was telling. This is what she was able to tell also at that time. Loudly shouting and shouting and shouting. At that time when Ravan was taking her through the airways, at that time from the sky, she was able to see a familiar personality sitting on the top of the tree. And that was Jatayu. And as soon as she saw Jatayu, it is described that she loudly shouted, Jatayu, please help me! Please help me! And she loudly shouted. Jatayu, who was resting, he woke up and he looked at Sita. And they had met before. He very well knew who that personality is. And he also knew who Ravan is, the great demon. So when he saw, he didn't say that, okay, 5 minutes, I'll come. 5 more minutes, I'll rest and come. Immediately he started. See, there's a very, very important thing to note here. That now when Jatayu is going to try doing anything to save Sita, it's going to be a service to Lord Ram. Now when it comes to a vulture, you tell me, now this bird is not like peacock, which everyone likes, for sure. It's not like it has got very lot of feathers and this and that. It's not like even parrot also. It's not like swan. So you see that this vulture, look itself, is very abominable. First. Second, now when it comes to Mahaprasad, what is the Mahaprasad of a vulture? It's all dead bodies. So when the dead body is lying down somewhere on the street, on the road, wherever, the vultures will go and eat that dead body. So in this way it is described that Vulture is not an animal or a bird which has to be glorified. Very, very abominable in the entire bird species also. But still you see, this personality, who is in the form of vulture, is participating in service of the Lord. And bhakti is so very powerful, that it doesn't matter which category we belong to. This is one of the very, very hope-giving lessons from Ramayana which I feel. Because you see, the associates of Lord Ram in the entire Ramayana battle, who were they? Either they were monkeys, or vulture like this, or bhalu, bears. You see, they're all animals. And what qualification animals have? They're busy doing various activities. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And it's such hope-giving thing that even these animals, when they participated, they were all delivered. And bhakti is so powerful that it doesn't matter how sinful the person is. It doesn't matter what is the background of the person. It doesn't matter how the person looks. It doesn't matter what are his current activities. What matters is easy involving himself or absorbing in service of the Lord. And anyone who does that, that person will be purified and delivered. This gives me so much of solace, So much of solace. Although yes, we also have some hope in Krishna consciousness. So, kabhi-kabhi soche na, when we say that the ultimate goal of life is Krishna Prem, the only thing that I am able to think about is maybe it might be much sweeter than Gulab Jamun. I really don't know what is meant by Krishna Prem. And who is attaining Krishna Prem? Those great personalities who have rendered devotional service selflessly, without any tinge of sense gratification, and just aspiring to please Radha and Krishna. They are the ones who attain Krishna Prem. And when it comes to us, just think about so much of sense gratificatory tendencies which are there in the heart. Sometimes I really wonder, is it possible for Kartikeya Das to attain Krishna Prem? And it's hopeless situation. Hopeless. But then when we read from Ramayana and when we see, oh, even these personalities got the opportunity. They got the opportunity to practice bhakti and they got delivered. Hamara bhi kuch banta hai. Even we have some hope. Therefore, this one thing we have to always tell ourselves. Whenever we think about our past, obviously we should feel guilty for everything that we have done in the past. But at the same time, one thing that should come to our mind is that yes, bhakti is all powerful. If I take this bhakti to my heart and soul, I'll be purified. And that Krishna Prem which everyone speaks about in devotee association, in the Vaishnava Sangha, even I'll be able to attain that. Very, very hope-giving. Very, very hope-giving. Therefore, bhakti does not consider what is the background, how the person looks, how much money the person has, what is the position, is he a male, is he a female, a kid, elder ones, old, about to die, taking birth, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter even if the child is in the womb, even he becomes a devotee before taking birth, and the example is? And? Yes, Parikshit, Prahlad, Abhimanyu, so many of them, you see. In this way, we see that bhakti, anyone who participates in this yajna called devotional service, they will surely be delivered. This is guaranteed. कितना भी कोशिश कर लो भक्ति छोड़ के जाने का, devotees will not leave you. Even if devotees at one point leave you, Krishna will not leave you. If Krishna leaves you, devotees understand that, they will come back again. And they will make you a project and bring you back again to Krishna consciousness. Maybe in this life or maybe in the next, but for sure the destination is fixed. That is, we will attain Krishna Prem and go back home, back to Godhead. But then we devotees are very greedy because we are part of ISKCON. And in ISKCON we have been taught by our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, this life. Don't take any more chance. This life. So thoda greed hai. And with that greed we practice devotional service. And with that greed when we are practicing devotional service, there will be some instances in life where we'll go low. We'll start feeling, मैं devotee हूँ. Sometimes we'll be very interested to say that I'm a great devotee when we are in mode of ignorance. But when we come to Sattva Guna, mode of goodness, at that time we'll realize, I'm devotee. Doesn't look like. There are no qualities of a devotee. And when you're feeling low, at that time we should think about this, that every single living entity, doesn't matter animal, bird, human being, sinful or pious, everyone can get delivered if they are participating in this big, big, big purifying, delivering process of devotional service. Therefore, a very beautiful shloka comes, in Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, a very hope-giving verse. Second canto, chapter 4, shloka 18. It says, Kirata hunandra pulinda pulkasha abhira shumbha yavanakasadaya yannecha papa pashraya shuddhyante tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. So it is said, doesn't matter which sinful category you belong to. So there is a list of sinful category that is given. And there is no need to match which class we belong to. It's okay. Prabhupada has given description about who are Kiratas, who are Pulakashas and Khasas, etc. All that is given. You can refer if you want. And it is said, it doesn't matter if you belong to any sinful category. If we are in the association of devotees, we will get delivered. Congratulations. If we have got something best in our life, then that is devotee association. And it is described that getting human form is rare. But even much more rare than that is getting devotee association to practice devotional service. Very, very difficult otherwise. Very, very difficult. So very, very rare thing we have attained. Kitne baar bhi bolo kam hai ye. Because mind, we will forget. We will forget, take association for granted. So again and again, it's the job of the speaker and the listener to contemplate on the subject matter, how rare this opportunity is. And this shloka makes it very clear. It doesn't matter which sinful category we belong to, we will surely get delivered if we are there in the association of devotees. Now when Jatayu saw Sita Maya being taken like that, he couldn't control himself. He couldn't. The first thing that he did was he went flying to Ravan, and as I already said, Kshatriyas first talk. And Jatayu started speaking. He started saying, Dushta Ravan, you know what are you doing? You're so abominable that you're kidnapping someone else's wife. What sort of person you are? And all that gali he gave. And after that he said, like the ripe fruit falls from the tree, now you will see that how you will fall from the chariot. And he said that I am 60,000 years old and you are young. I don't have weapons like you. I don't have 10 hands like you, 20 hands like you and 10 heads like yourself. I don't have these sophisticated weapons. I just have a beak. I have my wings and I have my claws. But still, I will make sure that today you're defeated. Because you're doing something which is very, very sinful and I cannot entertain this. And having said this, Jatayu started fighting with Ravan. By the way, all these different things which I spoke, those are not my concoction. You can read Valmiki Ramayana, it is there in that. And it's described that when both of them started fighting, it is described like two mountains are colliding with each other. That's how the entire fight was. Just think about it. A person having 10 heads, 20 hands, sophisticated weapons. With 20 hands, he is shooting his weapons. And here there is a bird, that too old, just having wings and a beak and claws. That's it. And here it is described, Jatayu was trying his best to fight with Ravan in all the possible ways. It is described, Ravan would shoot a weapon. Now various types of weapons. Arrows are there, Brahmastras are there, etc., etc. Now whatever comes in the Vedic scriptures as the description is given. He was shooting and Jatayu was dodging all that. And it's described that at a time, Ravan was capable of shooting many, many arrows. Hundreds of arrows it is described. And Jatayu, just by using his wings, he'll counter all those arrows. He was pretty strong. Pretty strong. And at one point of time, Jatayu, he flew up and came down and he broke the chariot and he killed the 20 donkeys who were carrying Ravan on the chariot. it is described he killed the driver of the chariot also. And what happened? Ravan fell down. And when he was falling down, it is described that Ravan didn't leave Sita. Now, so many hands are there. In one hand, he was holding Sita. And then he fell down with Sita. And again, it is described that how Ravan, along with Sita, he raised. And then again, he created another chariot. And he was there on the chariot. And all this fight was going on. It is described that Jatayu was trying his best to defeat Ravan. At one point of time when this fight was going on, Jatayu came down back of Ravan and he plucked off some flesh from his back. He pulled out the flesh from his back and he was pulling the hair. He was pulling the hair of Ravan, and it is described in Valmiki Ramayana. Very nice description. It says that when he was pulling the hair of Ravan, Ravan's lips were quivering in pain. Can you imagine how much pain this personality was going through? His lips were quivering in pain. And when all this was happening, look at Jatayu's valor. With his beak, he cut 10 left hands of Ravan. He did that. But then, for his amazement, again those 10 hands came out of his body. Fight was still going on, and on, and on, and on. And the description says that Jatayu was fighting, but what to do, he was old. And in his old age, because of that old age, he was feeling weak now. But Ravan was continuing to fight. And at one point of time, Ravan removed his sword and cut the wings of Jatayu, cut the beak of Jatayu, and cut his legs also. And the only thing that was happening was when he was cutting all this, there was a splash of blood coming out of his body and it was in the air. And Sita was horrified to look at that. It is described that when Ravan was killed and Lord Ram, Sita Maya, when they were entering Ayodhya, it was a huge festival. It was Deepavali. It was Deepavali. Everyone was celebrating. And there was Holi also at the same time. They were throwing colors in the air. They were throwing flowers in the air. There were huge tumultuous sound of various wonderful instruments. And all of them were singing glories of Ram. And it is described when the colors were thrown and when there was red color thrown, the gulal was thrown in the air, Sita started crying loudly. And it is described she was remembering this particular incident, Jatayu's blood in the air, and that's what she was able to remember at that point of time. And in front of Sita, Jatayu fell down on the ground in the pool of his own blood. And it is described that Sita, she was able to jump and she went, to Jatayu to embrace Jatayu. But at that time, Ravan came and he pulled Sita back and again took her on the chariot. And in front of the eyes of this great devotee Jatayu, who was still holding his breath, Ravan kidnapped Sita and he left. Now just see this entire pastime. It is so touching that he went on and on and on fighting. Now it was not a very nice, jolly thing that Jatayu was doing and he was enjoying that. It was painful. It was painful. But still, for the service of the Lord, the devotees are ready to take any pain. They're ready to go through any pain. And when they're going through pain, do they stop their service? No, they don't stop their service. They continue their service. And when they're continuing their service, do they have grudge on the Lord? Itni mein seva kar raha hu tumhari. And what are you doing? You're giving me so much of pain? No. A devotee with full enthusiasm, he just continues serving the Lord. And I have a praman for that. Please repeat. From 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, 14th chapter, shloka number 8. Very, very famous shloka, which Brahma is offering as a prayer, glorifying the devotees of Krishna, and is offering as a prayer to Lord Krishna after Brahma Vimohan Leela. Please repeat after me. Tatte nukampam Sushamikshamaano Bhunjana evatma Kritam vipakam Ritvak vapubhir vridadan namaste Jive tayo mukti Pade sadaya bhag. Very, very wonderful shloka. It is said, Tatte no kampam sushamikshmano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam. It is said the devotee, he goes through whatever situation is going through, whatever pain he is going through. And you know what? When he is going through that pain, does he blame the Lord? He does not blame the Lord, but he says, this is my karma. These are my karma. These are reactions to my sinful activities. So I'll just go through it. And how does he go through it? By cribbing? No, he doesn't crib. He goes through it. He grows through it by continuing to render devotional service. And here specifically it is given Rit, Vak, Vapu. Rit basically means heart or mind. Vak means speech. Vapu means body. So using his body, using his mind, using his speech, he continues to pay obeisance to the Lord, offer prayers to the Lord, and it is described here. He continues his devotional service. Therefore, it is described a devotee, doesn't matter how much pain he goes through, he never stops his devotional service. And here, can you see this personality, Jatayu? My God. He was continuing to fight and fight and fight, and he fell down. He's in the pool of his own blood. Still, he's fighting with his own life now because he wants to retain his life. Because now the goal that he has is, I want to hold my breath to do the last service. When Lord Ram comes, I have to tell him where Sita has been taken. Isko kehte hai service mode. See, he very well knew that he is going to die. He cannot withstand Ravan's fight. He knew very well. But he still went because he wanted to render service to the Lord. He went through all that pain. He never stopped in between. He said, "नहीं बहुत दुख रहा है, अभी मैं जा रहा हूँ. मैं आप देख लो अपना, मैं राम को बता देता हूँ." He could have said that. Or he could have said, no, my 16 rounds are remaining, I'm going back. He continued his service. He continued his service, and the description says that while doing his service, he was on the verge of leaving his body, and he was holding his life to continue doing the service because the last service was still remaining. That is to give the message to Lord Ram. Now he's there in the pool of his own blood. And here, Lord Ram comes back to the hut with Lakshman. He scolded Lakshman so much. I told you, don't come. Protect Sita. Why you came? And then Lakshman spoke various different things. And it's described that when Ram came back, he saw that Sita was missing from the hut. And at that time, when he looked around, he could see that so many animals and birds, they were giving some indication to Lord Ram, pointing towards south, that Sita has been taken towards south. And he could see some flower garlands fallen down, or ornaments which were crushed and which were down. He was able to see that, and he started going towards that. And here it is described very nicely in Valmiki Ramayana that they were going, and while going, various animals, they were giving them direction, go in this direction. And on that path, they could see a huge body, and they could see a lot of blood. And Lord Ram and Lakshman, they thought that here is a demon who has eaten my Sita, and there's so much of blood that is of Sita, and now after eating, he's sleeping here. He is the killer of my Sita. But then they went close, as I already said, Kshatriyas first talk. He went close to see who the personality is, and he could make out it was Jatayu, was lying in the pool of his own blood. And at that time, Lord Ram, he goes close to Jatayu, and he starts talking to Jatayu, and he said, what happened? And Jatayu starts speaking about what happened. He starts speaking about this very important incident, which is very, very important for Lord Ram at this point of time, that how Ravan kidnapped Sita. And it is described that he also described the dynasty of Ravan. Because always in the Vedic times, people ask which dynasty you belong to. What is your kul? What is your gotra? That's what is asked first, and the rest of the thing. So Jatayu started describing all that. And Jatayu told a very, very important thing there. Jatayu told Ram that, "Oh Ram, you need not worry." Why? Because when Ravan was taking Sita, so at that time, there was a muhurta that was going on, which was auspicious for him. And if we would have taken Sita at that time, we would have lost Sita forever. But I was fighting with Ravan for one muhurta. One muhurta is 48 minutes. So he was fighting for approximately 1 hour, and it is described. Jatayu started speaking. But oh Lord Ram, when he took away Sita, that muhurta was called as Vinda. And in this muhurta, whatever is lost, that can be retrieved, or that thing comes back very soon. Oh Lord Ram, don't worry, Sita will come back. She will come back. This is called a service. See, he was knowing very well he cannot defeat Ravan. But one thing that he did was he facilitated this entire act of getting Sita back to Ram. How he facilitated? He just made sure that the kidnapping of Sita is delayed for some time. For 1 hour he fought. And then when Vinda Muhurta started, then yes, he left. Ravan left, and Jatayu was full confident in Vinda he's taken her, no problem, she'll come back. For sure she'll come back. And then, he told that this is the direction where he has gone. And it is described that when he spoke all this, Jatayu was no more able to keep his breath now. He was taking his last breath. His head was on the lap of Lord Ram. Looking at the beautiful face of Lord Ram, Jatayu chanted, Ram, 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 and he left his body. Glorious, glorious, glorious. Another personality who chanted, Krishna, 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 and he left his body. Who was that personality? रामायण में नहीं है उसके बाद Bhishmadev had the opportunity where even he was holding his breath. He was holding his breath and he was waiting for Lord Krishna to come. It is described that Bhishma was waiting for Uttarayana. Bhagavatam says Uttarayana. And Acharya's comment on this, they say, which Uttarayana? Ayan means to take shelter. And whose shelter? Uttara shelter. Who took Uttara shelter? And it is described, Parikshit took Uttara shelter, and along with that, Krishna also entered the womb of Uttara, so he also took Uttara shelter. So that Uttarayan he was waiting for Krishna. And when Krishna came in front, he looked at Krishna's beautiful lotus face, and it is described. You can read those prayers, beautiful prayers of Bhishmadev, looking at beautiful face of Krishna, chanting his holy names, meditating on the beautiful face of the Lord. Bhishmadev left his body. Okay, one more test. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Someone chanted like this and he left his body. Who is that personality? Who is that personality? Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur, the Ramacharya, he was there on the lap of Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, looking at his beautiful face. He chanted Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, and he left his body. And there's another personality who was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And he left his body. Who was that? A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. You see, in case of Srila Prabhupada, Jatayu was fighting with Ravan, with his beak, with his wings, with his claws. And he wanted to save Sita. And when it comes to Srila Prabhupada, even he is a warrior like Jatayu. And Srila Prabhupada's weapons were his pen and his speech. And what about the demon? The demon was the demonic tendencies in the hearts of people. That was the demon. And you see, Prabhupada was fighting with this demon which is there in everyone every single day. He would sleep only for 2 hours, 10 to 12. And from midnight 12 till the next night, 10 o'clock, he would continue fighting with his pen. He would continue fighting with his speech, using his speech and using his pen. Full night he would translate the books. In one of the Bhakti Shastri class, one student was asking me that, so Prabhuji, so many commentaries Prabhupada has put here. So it means Prabhupada was keeping all those books on his table he was reading, is it? What do you say? Is it? And the answer is yes. Prabhupada had huge books of various commentaries of Acharyas. In the middle of the night, he would get up, switch on his table lamp. He will open the huge books, he will read various books and then he will write the commentaries or he will record in the dictaphone. And then in the daytime, when he would meet various demoniac people like us, he will debate with people and say, you rascals, you fools, take up to Krishna consciousness. This is the only way you can deliver yourself. And he kept on fighting. He kept on fighting. It is described that towards the end, when Prabhupada was really very ill, his body was not at all supporting. Very, very weak. He was in Vrindavan. And at that time, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, who was there as servant of Prabhupada, and few others like Tamal Krishna Maharaj and others, they took Prabhupada to Rishikesh. You can hear Bhakti Charu Maharaj's last lecture that he gave before leaving his body. He speaks about this. He describes how he was taking care of Prabhupada, how he was cooking for him in Rishikesh. And it's described when Prabhupada, he recovered a little bit in Rishikesh. He came to Vrindavan. And then he decided that I will go to UK. And all the disciples was awestruck. They're saying, Prabhupada, what are you saying? What are you saying? Your body is fragile. He said, no, I've recovered, I'll go to UK. I want to go to London to preach. And it's described, Prabhupada went. He was adamant, I want to go. And they were like, Prabhupada, you'll leave the body. And Prabhupada was okay. He said, it's better to leave the body on the battlefield while fighting with the demons. And this is what Prabhupada went to London and is described. He did some programs. Again, his health deteriorated. And devotees got Prabhupada back to Vrindavan. And when Prabhupada was there towards the last phase of his life in Vrindavan, in his room, that bed is still there. If you visit Vrindavan, you can take darshan of the bed on which Prabhupada left his body. That bed is still there. And all his disciples are surrounding him. And it's described that there was one Babaji. In Vrindavan, there are many Babajis. So one Babaji was there who would hardly speak. He called one of the disciples of Prabhupada. And he said, you know why? Firstly, he spoke in English. And this foreign disciple was awestruck to hear English from a Babaji. And he said, you know why your spiritual master is the greatest spiritual master? And he was dumbfolded. The disciple was dumbfolded. He was not able to speak. And at that time, the Babaji said, because Srila Prabhupada, he gave the Mahamantra to everyone all around the world. That's why he is the greatest spiritual master. And it is described that when Prabhupada was leaving his body, these different devotees who were there, they were pointing to the disciples, especially this Babaji, if I'm not wrong. He told the disciple, look at the tongue of your spiritual master. And the tongue was moving in sync. When you chant the Mahamantra, the way it moves, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The tongue was moving. And in the holy abode of Sri Vrindavan Dham, in the month of Kartik, and the lotus feet, or in the lap of Srimati Radharani, looking at the beautiful, or meditating on the beautiful face of Shyama Sundar, our dear Srila Prabhupada left his body. This is called as warrior. He fought, he remembered the Lord, and He went back home, back to Godhead. And here Jatayu is there in that situation. Now tell me, what will be our situation? Huh? Mummy, 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 papa, dadi. Huh? It's very scary. Huh? Just think about it. It's very scary. At the time of death, whose names we are going to chant? We don't know. We don't know. Therefore, Kulashekar Alvar in Mukundamala Stotra, Shloka number 33, he says, Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja panjarantam advaiva me vishatu manasa rajahamsah prana prayana samaye kafapata pittahi kantavarodhana vido smaranam kutaste. So here Kulashekar Alvar is saying that Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja panjarantam advaiva me vishatu manasa rajahamsah. He's saying, oh Lord, now my mind is able to think about you the way the swan entangles itself in the lotus stem. The swan takes a lot of pleasure to entangle itself in lotus stem. So like that he's saying, now my mind is able to think about you. Take me now itself, O Lord. Just take me now itself. Because at the time of death, prana prayana samaye, at the time of death, in that samaya, kapha, vata, pitta, are going to block or choke my throat. Kantavarodhana vido. When they'll block my throat, when they'll choke my throat, kapha, vata and pitta. Smaranam kutaste. How will I be able to remember you, Lord? How will I be able to remember you? Better you take me now itself. But anyways, we have a lot of service. Don't offer this prayer. We have to make Bangalore the Krishna conscious city. Therefore, it is described that when it comes to us, we also should have this meditation and the desire. If I have to leave my body, I have to leave my body in this glorious way. The way Jatayu left, the way Bhishma left, the way Haridas Thakur left, the way the Prabhupada left, and the way his disciples are leaving, even today. We have to follow their footsteps and leave our body. Therefore, we always say that ISKCON teaches art of dying. ISKCON teaches art of dying. And anyone who learns this art and masters this art goes back home, back to Godhead. Now, when Lord Ram saw that, and then Jatayu has left his body, and it is described that Lord Ram, he starts speaking to Lakshman and he says, when I saw Sita was missing from the hut, I felt a lot of pain. But more pain I'm feeling now when I'm seeing my pure devotee has left his body in front of me. That is giving me more pain. And he instructed Lakshman that get all the paraphernalia needed for the final rites of Jatayu. Have you heard any time in the history or in the current day that there was Antin Sanskar done for a vulture? And here there's Antin Sanskar done of the vulture. And is described, Lord Ramachandra was chanting Vedic hymns, and these Vedic hymns are chanted by the son when the father departs. I was just thinking about this point, that when Dasharath Maharaj left his body, Lord Ramachandra was not there. Bharat did the Antin Samskar. I was just thinking that how fortunate Jatayu was. Jatayu's Antin Samskar, Lord Ramachandra is doing. Therefore, it is described that when a devotee continues serving the Lord selflessly, without thinking about himself, he becomes the recipient of the mercy of the Lord. Therefore, all the time, only one thing that the devotee has to meditate on is, in this moment, how can I serve the Lord? This is only meditation. See, finally we are part and parcel of Krishna. The way we expect our kids to serve us, I mean, you all expect that, yes? And when your expectations are just shattered, and when you tell the kid, get me a glass of water, I don't know if your kids are doing, but at least I saw one parent telling the kid, and the kid is like, "Aap hi le lo jaake, kuch bhi to nahi kar rahe." I was taken aback. I said, better I'm not married. So the way the parents naturally have expectation, no, that kid should serve me. And parents demand also, who will take care of me? You have to take care of me. I've invested so much on you. One brahmachari who joined a brahmachari ashram, so his father, it seems he had written the entire expense that he had done on the child. And when he was joining brahmachari ashram, so this father, he shows him, इतना खर्च किया था मैंने तेरे पे, इतना तो देख के जा. See, expectation is there. Parents have expectation from the kids. Tell me what's wrong when our eternal parents, Shri Radha and Krishna, they expect that my kids, my part and parcel should serve me. What's wrong in that? Therefore, Prabhupada writes in the preface of Bhagavad Gita where he says, Krishna wants it, Krishna demands it, that we should serve him. Note this line, Krishna wants it and Krishna demands it. It's not that Krishna is requesting. And therefore he demands in 18th chapter, Shloka 66, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. He's very clear. Give up everything else, surrender unto me. He demands it. And anyone who is walking on this footstep, on the path, as per the instruction of the Lord, they will attain the same destination what these great personalities have attained. Therefore, only one thing that we have to meditate as devotees or aspiring, sincere, serious devotees is, at this moment, what service I can render to Lord Krishna. And let me tell you, we are so fortunate that we have got the bona fide service from the parampara which Srila Prabhupada has given to all of us and has made it very clear. And this instruction comes directly from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. You need not be a big, great preacher knowing all the Shastra. Whatever we hear, if we can repeat it to some people, that is preaching, and they will be very pleased with that. First thing. But before that, what we have to do is Janma Sarthak Kari. Prachar is there, Paropakar is there, but Janma Sarthak Kari is very important. Days are going, we are just becoming senior. Yes, we are just seen years. But then, in these years that we have seen, how much close have we got to Krishna? This is something that we need to analyze. And that devotee who is serious and sincere will be very eager to understand and measure. Last year I was here. This year, where am I? This year, how much my heart purification has happened? How much my lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion has gone down? How much taste I have got for chanting and reading and hearing and serving devotees? Devotee will analyze all this. Therefore, one thing that we have to meditate every moment is, how can I serve the Lord and his devotees at this point of time, at this given opportunity, when my body is healthy, when still air is going in and out of my nostrils. This is what we need to meditate on. And these are the different things that we learn from Jatayu in this wonderful pastime, where Jatayu is doing an unforgettable service to Sri Lord Ramachandra. Bolo Sri Jatayu ki Jai, Sitaram Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman ki Jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.